Right. You know, and this is not being anti-Semitic. This is what I got through to Stuart Rhodes. I'm being accused of being anti-Semitic by the same bastards that are attacking him. The ADL, the Southern Poverty Law. And these people are hiding behind the Jewish people, the good Jewish people, and I know a lot of good Jewish people. I made a lot of money with good Jewish people. I've got a good Jewish lady that comes to my Saturday morning breakfast club. But when you're trying to turn the tide and get people to think, oh, we're not responsible for that, oh, they're not responsible for it. They are hiding behind the Jews the same way the Hagis out there, you know, are siphoning off your money to support Israel because they're the chosen people. What a line of crap. What a line of crap. And you know, again, that don't make all certainly, you know, we're fed this. The Schofield Bible fed you on the idea that the Jews are the chosen people, and they ain't Jews, they're Khazarians. They came from they're more descendant of Genghis Khan than probably anybody else. They're right there on the Red Sea. They turned around and killed their own people in the Ukraine, killed 10 million people in the Ukraine. Sacrificed their own people, their own, we heard a little bit about the persecution of Jews in Soviet Union, but there were 60 million white Christian people that were murdered also by the Khazarians in charge. Israel was reborn because the Rothschilds' agent gave them the Balfour document. No, it wasn't divine. It was manipulations by the Zionists, Rabbi Ted. No, it's not. It is. It was given to you by the Balfour Declaration. You tried to legalize it and legitimize it with the League of Nations, but two countries wouldn't go along with it. Two countries wouldn't go along with it, the United States and Russia. So, with your usual backdoor intrigue political dealings, you murdered the Tsar. You financed your New York bankers financed the whole Soviet Bolshevik Revolution, which was headed by Lenin and Marx, both Jewish. And here you gave us the Federal Reserve, and we're still trying to throw that yoke off by your Jewish bankers. And I don't mean, again, all the Jews ain't bankers, and all the people, all the bankers, I've known good bankers out there, Rhodes Scholars, you know, that weren't like Clinton. So, it's all about money. Yeah. No, he won't buy my book. First of all, he's too cheap to buy it. Second of all, it might wake him up to the truth. And, you know, but nobody that's a Jewish will do anything to support me because I tell you the truth about what they're doing, what their rabbis are, what the Talmud is. You know, to give you a good excuse to you know, sodomize a 6-year-old girl. Yeah. Okay, but let's go on back here. Just got somebody in the chat room just rankles me, so my apologies there. Yeah, but what the ADL is doing and what the Southern Poverty Law is doing is criminal. They are programming. They're the ones that sent the FBI guide to right-wing extremists. There's Clay Douglas, a free American, in it. And okay, let's see. Richard Mack. I've known Richard. I started the militias, and I walked into Richard Mack's office and delivered Free American magazines to him. He was a gentleman then. He's a gentleman now. He's one of the great patriot leaders in this country. He is a spokesman for Oathkeepers, and been on my show a number of times. Richard Mack.
Perspective of the Constitution. And that's why I say he's such a great example to other judges, because in this day and age of political correctness and legislating from the bench, Judge Roll would not do that. And he was the first judge to hear my lawsuit. And without him, this lawsuit wouldn't have made it to the Supreme Court. And today I want to honor him, as well as the Marine veteran that we honored this morning, Jose Guerrno. And I really want all of you to study what you can about Judge Roll and the things he stood for, and the amazing men that we lost on January 8th. You'll remember that was the shooting that Dupnik was all trying to blame us for that shooting. You'll remember he actually singled out Sarah Palin and Rush Limbaugh for creating an atmosphere where people have to just start shooting each other. And that's the type of leadership that we have in this county, and so obvious. And I would like to go back, though, a little bit historically. Why the big increase of SWAT team usage in America? Do any of you... All right. The war on drugs. Oh, heavens. We have to have the war on drugs. Yeah. Well, actually, though, if you go back and look at television, you're going to see another reason. Remember television shows in the early 80s? SWAT was one. And do any of you even know what SWAT stands for? Special Weapons and Tactics. Yeah. So we've got to go on drug, marijuana. A guy growing 3 small plants in his bathroom, and we need special weapons and tactics for that. He's a pothead, for God's sakes. He probably, it mellows you out, okay? Maybe you cops should try some.
Hey, here's Richard Mack coming out telling you again what I've been telling you for years. The war on drugs is a war on the American people. No doubt about it, no questions about it. It's a war on the American people. The CIA, the Mossad, is bringing it in. They're behind it. They want it illegal because that keeps the price higher, just like the alcohol. They got to get the tax, they got to get the control, they got to get control of everything. That's why we can't grow hemp in this country. But they can grow it in Red China, they can grow it in Mexico, they can grow it in Canada. They just can't grow it here. Why? Because it might confuse a law officer, and he won't know who to arrest. Come on, folks. They need to get rid of these drug laws. And here's Sheriff Richard Mack telling you the same thing that I've been telling you. Matter of fact, I got to hear that again.
Bathroom. And we need special weapons and tactics for that. He's a pothead, for God's sakes. He probably, it mellows you out, okay? Maybe you cops should try some. You can look at the history of SWAT team and how the scale of SWAT team creation coincides with Hill Street Blues and the SWAT television movie. Yeah, or show, not movie, show. So SWAT becomes real big, and now all these chiefs and cities want their own SWAT teams. Well, you go to all that expense to get that, so what do you have to do? That's why you have to use it. Oh man, hey you guys, you're having a departmental meeting and you're going, you know what? The city council bought my sales pitch and bought us a big old SWAT van and all this training, paid for all this SWAT training, and paid for all the equipment and all these new guns, and we never use them. We got all ready for the dance, and we can't dance. And so they want to start dancing. And no, I'm not talking about Adam Kokesh getting arrested in Jefferson Park. That's another issue. Okay? And I'll tell you, what I saw about my friend Adam Kokesh is...
Who, by the way, I've smoked a joint with.
On his side and not the police on that one, too. So, seriously, if you look at the scale, you'll see that happened. And so, chiefs of police and sheriffs had to find reasons to use SWAT more often. And so what started happening? We're going into the wrong homes. And people are shocked and getting shot because they don't know why the cops are in their homes. And they think they're looking at a suspect and this guy's acting crazy, so they shoot him or they taser him, bro, or they kill dogs. I mean, they go in, and so the dogs don't react really nicely to the, oh, I feared for my safety, so I killed the dog. And even worse, I feared for my safety, and I killed the person. And it's gotten way out of control. And I really object to the training mentality in SWAT. I was a hostage negotiator, and we cross-trained the SWAT. And SWAT is only supposed to be used when the negotiation stops. To say that SWAT should be there because somebody might have a gun. How many gun owners in Arizona alone? What, 5 million? Yeah, not enough. That's right. Oh man, you're a deadbeat. You got drugs in your home, you know. And I have assailed the drug war as well. And I once was a drug warrior. I was an undercover narcotics officer, agent, and I learned what the drug problem is, and I learned what the drug war is. And let me tell each and every one of you that the drug war is a farce. I would say hurry up and legalize all of it and leave the rest of us the hell alone.
That's exactly what Jerry...
Much money into it, and I'm sure government doesn't want to stop all that money being poured of ours into the drug war.
You know, that's what it is. You fund the police state, you use the drugs. The drugs are the temptation that they use against the poor black kids, the poor white kids out there. Here's a way to make a little bit of money. Here's a way to make a little bit of money. And it's the CIA and the Mossad that are the drug gangs, that are the mafia, that are bringing it in. They've been, I was told back 50 years ago that we had infiltrated the KGB to the point that the KGB and the CIA was practically the same agency. I'm telling you that they're all the same agency. All of the secret services are working for a one world government. They're just not, occasionally, you know, they'll come out to you the truth. George Bush. Now we can see a new world coming into view. Now we get, this is what they're doing. And Ayn Rand told you, government has no control over honest citizens, so they have to make criminals out of us. That's why in many states, smoking a bowl of pot can put you in prison. And 1 in every 31 Americans is in prison right now. We are making progress. Medical marijuana is in Arizona now. It's in California now. It's in about 14 other states. So there are a lot of people not going to jail. So now they're turning up the heat. If they come in, while they still got laws, while we still allow them to pass laws against victimless crimes, no victim, no corpus delicti, nobody wrong, nobody injured. Legalize it. Sheriff Mack here is telling you that the drug war is a farce. The people that are in the drug war, the drug warriors, that thought they were doing something right, just like I thought I was doing something right for volunteering for Vietnam. I wanted to go out and fight the communists. I wanted to preserve America. I wanted to do my patriotic duty. I didn't know they were going to be using the body bags and the bodies of the soldiers to smuggle heroin back into this country. Then George Bush kind of commercialized it. There were tons of cocaine coming in from Panama, from Colombia. And the CIA is using those drugs to entice and hook our kids, get them strung out, get them working, get them selling it, getting it, and then provide the fodder for the private prisons. It's a racket. It's a racket, and the banks are laundering the money. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, billions of dollars in supposed drug money, but they ain't taking it away from them. They ain't taking it away from them. Richard Mack.
And I don't use drugs, and I pray that you don't either. But there's one thing worse than drug abuse or drug addiction. The drug war is worse. And what really bothers me about police officers is they don't get this in training. They don't receive this in training. That we put the safety of the individual first. We're trained in law enforcement that it's my safety I put first. Where did we get that from? That's the most selfish attitude I've ever seen in my life. When they came in your home, they should have said, put the gun down. When they saw him, put the gun down. You're outmanned, you're outgunned. We are the police, we're from the Pima County Sheriff's Office, put the gun down. And it is. And I've got to ask something here. I think this is extremely startling. We hear all of a sudden, after the shooting, that Jose shot at them. That's the first thing we heard. Why did we hear that? Why did we hear that? Because the officers are what? Trying to CYA. Oh, we've got to cover this. We've got to cover our butts on this one. So we better say he fired first. That should be the number one thing that Sheriff Dudnick is concerned about. That he is their supervisor. He is the one they work for. He reports to the people of this community. Tell me why, Sheriff, instead of making up more excuses as to why this death occurred in your county. I don't want to hear any more excuses. I want you to tell me what disciplinary action and what investigation and internal affairs you're conducting to see why an officer lied about a shooting. Now, if he said that, and he said now, well, no, that was a mistake. He didn't really shoot at us. That means that some officer wasn't going to go along. Some officer was going to cross the blue line and not support the lie. And so because they found the gun with the safety still on, so they know that this honorable Marine did not intend to shoot at them at that point. He was checking it out. And Stuart was absolutely correct. The Marine was following proper procedure. Check your target out first. SWAT team members didn't do that. In all police training that I've ever had, it's always know your target first. And I'm going to submit this, and I know this is really going to shock a lot of police officers all across the country. And let it shock them, I hope it does. But this is what you need to do. There's one thing worse, my good fellow officers and sheriffs. There's one thing worse than getting shot. And that's shooting the wrong person. That's what I could never live with. I would rather die than to have to live with the fact that I took someone's love. someone else's life, an innocent person. I could never live with that. Take me first before I do something like that, ever. Could you imagine the 11 bullets that missed had it hit her son or her? What would we be talking about now? What would the excuses be from the Pima County Sheriff? Could you imagine? And this brave Marine did exactly what Stuart said. Put himself between him and the threat and his family. Made sure they were safe, and then he went to find out what was going on. And I guarantee you, I would have had my gun. It probably wouldn't have been a rifle, it probably would have been a pistol. And that's the kind of policy change that we need. First, you have got to look at the ridiculous nature and policies using SWAT teams in the first place. This could have been handled so easily without a SWAT team. So easily. And I can only tell you about when I was a detective, that we would have gone, I would have gone to his place of employment at about the time he was leaving. I'm going to say, Mr. Guerrno, we're going to do a search warrant on your home right now. You're going to stay here with us. You're going to be with Officer Smith in his vehicle. Is there anything in the home that you need to tell us about? He says, no, my wife's there. I don't want her hurt. He says, nobody's going to be hurt. We're going to go in. Here's a copy of the warrant. Give it to him. Go search the home. Okay? Do we need a SWAT team now? For Vanessa? Give me a break. So, the whole thing is diffused. We're still serving our warrant. Nobody dies. And that is a less of a threat to the officers, for God's sake.
Amen.
So, and neighbors. I mean, this whole thing. And if this gets swept under the carpet, oh my gosh. Now, please, government, be accountable and responsible and follow the rules. For God's sake, can we follow the rules for once in this country? And so, my other plea has been to law enforcement for the past 20 years. Can't we believe in America and still be cops? Can't we still enforce the law, but believe in American ideals? Can we believe in our Constitution? Can we believe in the Founding Fathers? Can we still believe that what Patrick Henry said about the holy cause of liberty and principles of freedom, principles of liberty? Can we have law and order and still be God-fearing Americans? And can we still care enough about each other that we put one rule first, the golden rule, that we were not going to do anything to them that we would not want done to us? And that's the rule that needs to be far more important than enforcing the law. And maybe, just maybe, if we have officers and sheriffs who follow the Constitution and put Americanism first, that we'll have fewer of these incidents. Instead of being trained, I go home no matter what. Now, I don't believe in that anymore. And maybe I just don't fit the mold. Yeah, and I don't want to. And I'm going to have to tell you, there's some things that happened getting us down here, and there was some dissension in the ranks within Oathkeepers about not wanting to be here with Vanessa and your family. And some of them aren't here. And Stuart took a lot of heat And he's taken a lot of heat since coming up with this most amazing organization. And I'm proud to stand with Stuart Rhodes. And I'm proud to have made a new friend today. And her name is Guerrno. And
all right.
I'll say it again. What happened to your husband is wrong, and I am so very sorry. And everyone in Arizona, from the governor to the sheriff to every local officer, they all owe you a very profound apology. What happened there was wrong. And I don't pretend to be able to say that and make everything all right, especially with what you're going to go through explaining this to your children and how you could possibly explain this to your two young boys. But I hope you'll tell them that there was a lot of people here in Tucson today and from all over the country that extend their heartfelt, sincere apologies to you and your boys. And we love you, and we're here for you, and this is America. And I've written a little book, a lot of you have seen it before, and it's called The County Sheriff, America's Last Hope. And on May 5th, that wasn't true. And this sheriff should be replaced.
That's Richard Mack saying that Sheriff Dupnick should be replaced. I agree. And this is the value of Oath Keepers. They're going up. They're talking to the governor. They're meeting with the governor. They're meeting with the officials. They're meeting with the legislature. And they're doing something to get this war on the American people turned around. I support them and will continue to support them as best I can. If you had a hard time hearing that, go to the internet, go to freeamerican.com and click on it. And if you feel like making a donation, feel like buying a book, feel like contributing here, feel like getting involved with Liberty Villages, check out the Liberty Village site. That's all coming about. There are all types of alternative lifestyles opening up and available to you. Listen to Josh Daniels yesterday. I'm Clay Douglas. God bless you. Fulfilled my fantasies. You know, I study people. That's what I do. You know, this is how I've done this. I study people. So having Rabbit Ted in here, Rabbi Ted, the rabbit in here, was interesting. It's interesting to see how they works, and this is how the ADL is working. This is how the Southern Poverty Law is working. This is the danger. Go back and watch the ADL in 60 Minutes bullshit that was put out about sovereigns. to make you the enemy.